Hey Bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making a gorgeous vanilla spice whipped body butter. So this is a continuation of our holiday 2017 vanilla spice gifting theme. When you're making a whipped body butter that you want to stay fluffy and whippy, there are two really important components. The first one is sort of the fat blend, and then the second one is your methodology, how you go about whipping it. And so for the fat blend, it needs to be mostly soft fats, which makes sense. I remember when I first got into this, I really wanted to make a cocoa butter whipped body butter and found that, if I used a lot of cocoa butter in a whipped body butter, the whipped body butter sort of ceased to be whippy quite promptly, which makes sense because cocoa butter is a very hard butter at room temperature, so of course it was going to become hard if left at room temperature. The second part of making a successful stay whippy whipped body butter is your methodology. And so for this one, we're going to be using a freeze whip, sort of back and forth technique. So you'll pop it in the freezer and then you'll take it out and you'll whip it. And then you'll put it back in the freezer and you'll take it out and you'll whip it. And we'll do this quite a few times. So you'll be setting timers left, right, and center. And it definitely is kind of fiddly and time consuming, but it is really necessary to get the beautiful final product that we are going to get, and just wait till you see it at the end. It is gorgeous. I definitely want to thank Jane over at Making Skincare for publishing a really useful guide on creating whipped body butters. She's also got some great troubleshooting information there, so I'm definitely going to throw a link to her guide in the description box below so that you can make sure to check it out, so that you can really start to see where I learned this and check out her troubleshooting tips. So if you're encountering issues with creating your own whipped body butters, it's a really invaluable resource. And don't forget, the description box below also has the link to this recipe on my blog, where I've written out all of the instructions and I've linked to all of the ingredients and I've written out more information about why I chose the ingredients I chose. It's a really useful sort of complimentary piece of content for you to check out, so please do. All right, let's break out those beaters and go make a gorgeous whipped body butter. To begin, we're going to combine all of our ingredients that will be melting together in a bowl. And so you want to make sure that this is a bowl that you can use electric beaters in. So I don't recommend using a Pyrex measuring cup for this, and make sure it's microwave safe because we'll be melting everything in the microwave. So in here I have 49 grams of rice bran oil, 50 grams of mowrah butter, and 100 grams of mango butter. Now to melt everything together, I'm going to go pop this in the microwave and do 15 to 20 second bursts until it is completely liquid, stirring and scraping down between the bursts. Okay, we are all melty. This was 4 20-second bursts, stirring in between, and make sure you use hot mitts because I definitely found the bowl got quite warm in between. But up next, I'm going to pop this in the freezer for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes in the freezer, you can see the edges have started to sort of set up a bit, so we're going to scrape this down and then we're going to whip it with electric beaters for 3 full minutes. So make sure you set a timer. And then we're going to freeze it, we're going to scrape down and then pop it in the freezer for 3 minutes and repeat that. So set that aside, get our timer going. All right, so there's our timer done. You can see how gorgeous this is looking already. So the 3 minutes of whipping feels like approximately an eternity, where the next 3 minutes where we're going to pop this back in the freezer is going to pass incredibly quickly. So make sure you are setting your timers and don't get too distracted by anything else. Now, because I'm hoping this is going to be our last beating, I'm going to add our mica and our essential oils and our vitamin E now. So we have here 1 gram of vitamin E, I'm going to add 3/8 of a teaspoon of bronze mica. Now this is something you can always adjust, and you can use a different mica that sort of makes you think vanilla spice. That's up to you. And for our scents, I thought for this one, instead of benzoin, I would try some of this vanilla cream fragrance oil that I bought. I haven't really worked with it, so curious to see how it goes. And then we're going to add some cinnamon bark essential oil and some clove bud and some nutmeg. If you don't want to use the vanilla fragrance oil, just by all means continue to use benzoin as we have for every other recipe in this series. So I think we'll do about 10 drops of the vanilla fragrance here, 7 drops of cinnamon bark, 3 drops of clove, and 1 drop of nutmeg. And we're going to blend this for what is hopefully a final 3 minutes. All right, check out that consistency and that gorgeous, beautiful, like soft, whippy peaks. So before we do anything with this, we're gonna leave it for a while to make sure that these soft whippy peaks stay, to make sure that we've whipped it enough and properly. So I'm gonna leave it for about 20 to 30 minutes, and I don't know, probably go do some dishes from making this mess, and we'll come back and give it a poke and see if it has continued to be beautiful. All right, so it's been about half an hour. Yay! Look at it, it's still, yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. Okay. Woohoo! Oh goodness, this is so beautiful. All right, sweet. We are done with our beaters. Don't lick them. I know you'll be tempted. They do smell wonderful. And we can put this in some lovely containers. When it comes to packaging whipped body butters, it's quite popular to put it in a icing bag and then pipe it into things. I don't have an icing bag, and I feel like using a Ziploc bag is quite wasteful because you lose product to the inside of the Ziploc bag and you end up having to bin the bag. And also, I'm lazy. But if you want to do that, go right ahead. It does make for absolutely beautiful presentation. But I like just sort of dolloping it into a jar, and then you can kind of whip it up with your spatula, and that's quite lovely as well. So remember to be, reasonably light with this because it is light and whippy and airy, and we want it to stay that way. And there you go. You just made a beautiful whipped vanilla spice body butter. Just look at that. Oh, it's gorgeous. And thanks to the use of lovely lightweight mango butter, it's really not greasy in the way that you might be used to body butters being greasy. You can see it just sinks right in. It's gorgeous. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Do remember to visit the blog. There is an accompanying blog post for this recipe with the whole thing written out, all the instructions written out, links to all of the ingredients, and information on substitutions and troubleshooting. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.